Welcome to my channel. In this video, we will explore E. Cummings' evocative poem, Let's Live Suddenly Without Thinking, providing a comprehensive summary and insightful analysis. Join us as we navigate the rich symbolism and thematic depth of Cummings' verse, unraveling its complexities and offering nuanced perspectives to deepen your appreciation of this iconic literary work. Biography: E. Cummings. Born Edward Estlin Cummings on October 14, 1894, was an American poet, painter, essayist, author, and playwright. He is best known for his unique style of poetry, characterized by unconventional punctuation, typography, and syntax. He often explored themes of love, nature, individualism, and the human experience in his works. Cummings published numerous collections of poetry during his lifetime and is considered one of the most influential poets of the 20th century. He passed away on September 3, 1962. Published date: Let's Live Suddenly Without Thinking was published in Cummings' collection of poetry titled 50 Poems in 1940. Tone: the tone of the poem is celebratory, whimsical, and rebellious. Cummings often employed a playful and experimental tone in his works, challenging conventional norms and encouraging readers to embrace spontaneity and freedom. Setting: the setting of the poem is not explicitly stated, as it focuses more on abstract concepts and emotions rather than specific physical surroundings. However, Cummings' poems often evoke a sense of nature and the natural world, which could be considered as a subtle backdrop to the themes explored in the poem. Point of view: the point of view in the poem is first-person plural, suggesting a communal or collective perspective. The speaker addresses the audience directly, inviting them to join in the spontaneous and uninhibited lifestyle advocated in the poem. This inclusive point of view reinforces the poem's message of embracing life's unpredictability and living in the moment. Summary: Let's Live Suddenly Without Thinking by E. Cummings is a poem that celebrates spontaneity, freedom, and living in the present moment. The poem begins with an invitation to embrace life without overthinking, suggesting that we should live suddenly without thinking under the canopy of honest trees, where a stream flows freely. The poet emphasizes the purity and naturalness of this way of living, contrasting it with the complexities and frustrations of intellectual pursuits symbolized by the cleverly crinkling water pursuing an angry dream. As night falls, the scene shifts, and the moon rises over the organized hills, scratching their surface. An owl's hoot and the echoing response add to the atmosphere of the moment. The poet then urges the reader to embrace spontaneity further, using vivid imagery and metaphorical language to describe abandoning oneself to the music of the waves, leaving behind the constraints of maps and intellectual navigation. The poem concludes with a call to action, encouraging readers to metaphorically leave their maps in the sand and dance to the rhythm of life, symbolized by the music of the waves. This abandonment of structured thought and planning in favor of spontaneous living is depicted as liberating and joyful, offering a contrast to the constraints of rationality and conventionality. Overall, Let's Live Suddenly Without Thinking is a celebration of living in the moment, embracing spontaneity, and finding freedom in abandoning the constraints of overthinking and intellectualization. Themes: Let's Live Suddenly Without Thinking by E. Cummings explores several themes through its whimsical and celebratory tone. Spontaneity: the poem celebrates the idea of living life impulsively, without overthinking or planning every detail. It encourages readers to embrace spontaneity and seize the moment. Freedom: there's a theme of freedom running through the poem, as it encourages individuals to break free from societal expectations and constraints. It advocates for a liberated way of living, unconstrained by rules or conventions. Carpe diem: the poem echoes a carpe diem, seize the day philosophy, urging readers to make the most of each moment and fully engage with life's experiences. Rebellion. Cummings' poem can be seen as a rebellious stance against conformity and routine. It encourages readers to rebel against societal norms and embrace their individuality, embracing the unknown. There's a sense of adventure and excitement in the poem as it celebrates the unpredictability of life and encourages readers to embrace the unknown with enthusiasm rather than fear. Living authentically. The poem encourages authenticity and genuine expression. It suggests that true fulfillment comes from living authentically and embracing one's true self, rather than conforming to societal expectations. Literary devices. Let's Live Suddenly Without Thinking by E. Cummings employs various literary devices to convey its message and create its unique style. Enjambment. Cummings frequently uses enjambment, where lines run into each other without punctuation at the end of a line, creating a flowing and continuous rhythm. Unconventional capitalization and punctuation. Cummings often disregards traditional rules of capitalization and punctuation, using lowercase letters and unconventional punctuation or lack thereof to create visual and auditory effects. Imagery. The poem contains vivid imagery that appeals to the senses, helping to create a vivid picture of the spontaneous and uninhibited lifestyle it celebrates. Alliteration. Cummings uses alliteration, the repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning of words, to create musicality and emphasis. For example, L sounds in let's live and S sounds in suddenly, spontaneously. Repetition. The repetition of phrases like let's and without thinking emphasizes key ideas and creates a rhythmic pattern that reinforces the poem's message. Metaphor. The poem employs metaphorical language to convey abstract concepts, such as suddenly representing the idea of spontaneity and living in the moment. Irony. There's a subtle irony in the title and throughout the poem, as the act of living suddenly without thinking requires a degree of thoughtfulness in embracing spontaneity. Play on words. Cummings often plays with language, using puns, wordplay, and unconventional syntax to add layers of meaning and create surprises for the reader. Symbolism. Various symbols are woven throughout the poem, such as the idea of living without thinking symbolizing a carefree and uninhibited approach to life. I hope you've understand this lecture. If you have any queries, let me know in the comments section and do share it with your friends.